Hello, welcome to another episode of What'cha Drinkin from Quirk's Media. I'm Dan Quirk, Vice President of Marketing. Today, we're interviewing Lucy Davison, founder and Managing Director of Keena's Mustard. Hi there, Lucy. How are you doing today? And
hi Dan, how are you?
what you drinking?
Here I have a Negroni made for me especially by my daughter, who used to work as a mixologist in a very smart Japanese restaurant in London. She's actually an art student. But I particularly like a Negroni because I love that kind of Campari flavor, that bitter flavor. And I'm very fond of Italy, and it reminds me of Italian holidays. So I'm escaping at the moment with a Negroni. What are you drinking, Dan?
Well, I love that. Well, you know, we're in a different time zone here. It's still morning here. So what I have my orange owl mug, and I am drinking a tea. It's a local tea from a local company here called Good Earth Sweet and Spicy Tea. And it's an orange and cinnamon tea. And this was a local restaurant, but they now sell the tea, I think maybe nationally, but it's one of my favorite teas. Later this afternoon, I'll have a cocktail, but not right now. So.
Well, I'm a little early for me for a cocktail, and I'm actually an extremely big tea fan. So I'm fully supportive of you in your tea consumption.
I will send you some of this tea, or maybe next time we see each other at an event, I can bring you some tea, which hopefully won't be too long.
That would be what they call Coles to Newcastle, I think, given the amount of tea in the UK.
Yes.
National drink and all that.
Right. Well, moving on, I know that you are a communication guru and expert, and I wanted to ask you, these are trying times right now. What should people be doing right now in terms of communications?
That's an interesting question. I think that overall, all the rules of good communication still apply. But the one thing that I think people should do right now is ensure that they are being really authentic and human in terms of their voice. And I think the only way we can actually make connections with people is by giving of ourselves in what we're doing and what we're saying. And so be more human would be my number one rule for how better to communicate in this kind of a crisis.
Okay. And do you think that means then, is it admitting mistakes? Is it just being more empathetic in how you communicate?
I think it's all those. I think it's in particular acknowledging that we don't know what's going to happen. I heard a really good analogy the other day. Everyone keeps saying we're all in the same boat. We're not all in the same boat. We're all in the same hurricane, and we're all in different vessels. So I think it's acknowledging the fact that we don't know what's going to happen. We have no idea what the outcome's going to be. There could be an enormously wide range of experiences and situations that your audiences are in. And I think it's really, really important to address people on a kind of really human level. So when it comes to business communications, I would argue we need to ensure that we're both living our brand and ensuring that we're being our brand and living our values, but that we're articulating that in terms of our tone of voice. So we're really, really being real and being authentic, giving real examples, telling our own anecdotes and stories, keeping it short, but keeping it really real.
Well, and I think, it's real. Where you're coming from is real. That's your home. You're right. So automatically that makes it sort of a little more real. I'm in my office. As you see, I have some of the mascots behind me that we've used at our events in the past. Keeps me from getting lonely because the office is pretty empty right now. Most of us aren't coming in. So, moving on to something a little more fun. I'm kind of curious, what are you binge watching these days on your own?
Well, actually, I'm like many people, I find it quite hard to do too much screen time. And so I'm not binge watching. I am watching TV and I'm reading, but I'm not binge anything in terms of that kind of consumption. What I am doing is binge gardening. So I have a really lovely plot here where I live in the country in England, and I have my veg plot. and it doesn't know what hit it, honestly. It's got everything going, and we've got the peas and the beans, and I had asparagus today for lunch, which I picked about 5 minutes before I ate it. And I think it's the way that I keep creative and sane, is keeping my hands in the soil and getting on with my garden.
I think that's great. You know, I heard somebody say, they said, you know, we're going to have the best tended gardens ever because people have time on their hands, but the worst tended hair because you can't get a haircut anywhere. So,
yeah, I feel very sorry for hairdressers. I have been trying to get my usual hair dye, and it's really difficult.
I know. I have a lot of gray coming in now for sure. Well, I want to thank you so much for giving us some communication advice, sharing your home with us as well. And I can't wait to see you again in person.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you too, Dan. Take care. Bye. Okay, bye.